It's time for Michigan Sports Talk Morning Show, broadcasting live all across the state of Michigan and Northwest Ohio. This is X's and Bros.
Swings it out to Sadiq Bey. Gets Benny in the car.
To Abdul-Rahman at midcourt. Extra pass. And it goes for the win. The three-pointer by Jordan Poole. Here's the give. Walker. Kenneth Walker. Touchdown. Spotty.
Goff's got it. Back. Looks. Throws. Ends up.
Yes.
Caught. Touchdown Detroit Lions. They did it. Amon-Ra St. Brown in the receiving end.
Sends one to deep left center field. Back it goes, and that ball's out of here. A grand slam from Miguel Cabrera. He's got 2 goals. Larkin in on goal. Scores! His first career hat trick in his 7th season for Dylan Larkin.
Here's your host, Anthony Bellino.
Rise and shine, folks. Good Monday morning to you. Welcome to X's and Bros, broadcasting live all across the great state of Michigan and in Northwest Ohio as well. From Traverse City down to the Glass City, GR to the Motor City, we say good morning to you. We welcome you. We thank you. We appreciate you. And, of course, we encourage you. Join the program at any time. You can text the keyword sports radio. Send that to 21,000 sports radio to 21000. Our Myers Supercenter guest line, 248-951-2176, 248-951-2176. We're on Twitter at XB Mornings, Facebook, X's and Bros. And, of course, good morning to our television audience as well on both BCSN and streaming live on our YouTube page at Michigan Sports Network. Added.com to that to find our website. Danny Cahalan is a Dan in the studio. Ryan Elke is on Twitter at RyanL_Key. And I'm Anthony Bellino at AC Bellino. Gentlemen, good morning to both of you. Happy Monday, June 5th already. Time flies when you're having fun. How's life? How was the weekend? What's going on over there?
Oh, we're just hanging out, getting ready for the Rocket Mortgage Media Day outing today.
Oh, yeah, that's today you guys are going to play, right?
Yes. Tony Finau will be out there. So, pretty pumped to – I don't know if we're going to get to meet him, but at least hear him speak.
Ooh, are you going to play with him?
No, but they do the par 3 thing. He'll hit a couple balls, and then they have a couple of the media members go out there and embarrass themselves in front of everybody.
Well, yeah, we will get a chance to possibly interview him. Dan last year had to fill in for whoever was supposed to report for Bally Sports.
Craig Monroe.
Yeah.
He didn't show up. I had my Bally shirt on.
So
it worked out.
Yeah, hey. Dan's cousin was the cameraman.
It was not my cousin, a friend, a longtime friend.
So she just looked at Dan. Like, Dan, you know golf. You work for Bally. You're interviewing Cam Champ.
I love that. I remember that. That worked out great. Right place, right time, man. So that'll be that's fun. I forgot that this.
I like
week
that
is
Merlot polo you got on.
Got this at the Toledo Golf Show. 3 for like 45 or something crazy. Callaway. You see it? It's nice.
Oh yeah, I see the logo.
Yeah, dude, so soft. It's like it's like my favorite shirt now. It's nice. Thank you. Feeling rather dapper this morning is what I'm feeling. This Moreau Callaway Opti-Dry. Wow, what a shirt. What a shirt Callaway makes.
Did you did either of you guys get near downtown this weekend? I was out of town. I just wanted to know if downtown was crazy with the roads being clogged up with Grand Prix.
I did not. My uncle went to it yesterday, and John in Detroit, in Detroit, he watched a little bit of it from his apartment. I guess he could. I mean, it looked like they were driving right underneath him, so he was able to see it. One of the better comments that I saw from the illustrious group chat is like, I can't believe people would go pay to see that. People do that on 94 every day of the week. I thought that was entertaining. I also thought that the fact that it looked like and I don't know, maybe it's just one little strip that I saw, but it looked like the cars were bouncing around a little bit on the roads.
Oh, yeah, they definitely do.
Yeah, you can kind of. What is IndyCar? Is it like the MLS while the Premier League is like Euro soccer? Is that what F1 is? Is F1 the Premier League and IndyCar is MLS? It's all open wheel racing, right? Are the cars different?
I don't know, because I feel like IndyCar, they have the actual tracks, and then they do some street races where I feel like F1 is. I don't follow F1. Seems like F1 is a lot of street racing.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like.
So we're, IndyCar series, they will go to actual tracks and just do like regular type races.
Like the Indy 500.
Yeah, because they were calling the Detroit Grand Prix yesterday like, hey, this is part of our street series. So it seems like it's a one-off of their season is doing a few street circuits.
It says Formula One, the cars are 70 centimeters longer and much lighter. But that's really the only differences in the cars.
I've always wondered that, but I've never put the effort into like go figure out like exactly, what is IndyCar in comparison to F1. And then I started thinking about it this weekend. I'm like, well, maybe IndyCar is like the MLS. Like, could Lewis Hamilton, hop in an IndyCar and race here in America? Is IndyCar only in America? How many events are there on the schedule? Because I feel like you hear about the Indy 500, you hear about the Detroit Grand Prix, and then I don't hear about anything else. Whereas, you heard about F1 in Miami, you hear about Monaco. You know what I mean? Like I don't know. It feels like it's the
How much did you hear about F1 before Drive to Survive came out on Netflix?
They got a Netflix series out of it. That's why I don't know.
Right. As compared to, you hear about the Indy 500 every year.
And the guy who won the Indy 500, he participated in Detroit, correct?
Sure. That's how much I pay attention to those types of races.
Yeah, I mean, just racing isn't my thing. Like, there's nothing.
Yeah, and they used to, again, I was out of town. I didn't get to watch any of it. But, like, in previous years, it was a duel, so it's two races. I don't know if that was the case this year or not. There used to be, they also did one day of like almost rally car-ish style racing when they first started doing it back on Belle Isle. But I don't know. Again, I don't know if they're doing that either. But that was fun. These, like, the heavier cars were more entertaining because they could control them easier.
Yeah, I don't know. I just it's fascinating. Like, how many laps do they participate? Like, how many laps was the Detroit Grand Prix?
100.
100 laps.
Yeah, I turned it on. They're on lap 60. So I watched pretty much the final 40 laps. Got to see a couple crashes.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
There was one car went over top of the other car and landed and kept going.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I saw that. It took the tail off of the one car and then kept going. There's a few where the people just couldn't handle they took the turn too hot and then just slammed into the wall. Tires just popped immediately.
Jeez.
Bent the axle. And it's funny when the tow truck came out because those cars are so light, where the tow truck was just lifting it off the ground. They just like put some straps on it and then just lifted it all the way up.
Piece of cake.
Yep.
Right? Light as a feather. Hey, by the way, we're going to talk about this next year, but Freddie owes me a pizza. How about that? Last week's wager over the Tigers and the White Sox, he said that the Tigers would be 500 by the end of the weekend, is what he said. Monday morning they'd be 500. Well, guess what? They got swept. More injury news. What happened this weekend? We're talking Tigers baseball next year on X's and Bros on the Michigan Sports Network.
My good friend Tom Rosenbach and his team at Bean Carter. They're one of America's top accounting and business firms. They're based in downtown Grand Rapids, and now they're stronger than ever before with their new partnership with Dorn Mayhew. Now, Dorn Mayhew is an east side firm. Now you get the west side of Michigan with Bean Carter, and whether you're a small business or big business, they can handle all of your accounting and business needs at Bean Carter. Just go to beancarter.com. That is BEENEGARTER.com. And I mentioned with their new partnership with Dorn Mayhew, they cover all of Michigan, the Midwest, and coast to coast. Find out how the pros at Bean Carter can help your business today. Go to beancarter.com. That is BEENEGARTER.com. And I know Tom Rosenbach and his team are so happy about their new partnership with Dorn Mayhew.
Hey, this is Matt Shepard from the Michigan Sports Network. I love summers in Michigan because it means golf season. Now, two things always when I go golfing. I make sure I got my sticks, and I've got plenty of cold, fresh Labatt Blue Light. Whether I've just squeezed in 18 holes or I just want to relax on the patio after a long day, everywhere I go, and I'm serious when I tell you this, I tell people about the smooth, genuine taste of Labatt Blue Light. It's just a great beer. Michigan Sports Network is giving you a chance to win a foursome to Michigan's best courses. Just listen weekdays to The Huge Show and X's and Bros, or just text GOLF to 21,000 to enter. That's GOLF to 21,000. The trip includes 2 overnight stays and 2 rounds of golf, all brought to you by my friends at Labatt Blue Light. So grab a Labatt Blue Light the next time you head out onto the course and enjoy the blue skies, because blue is for Michigan summers and great times. Always enjoy responsibly. Copyright 2023 Labatt USA, Buffalo, New York. All rights reserved. Labatt is a registered U.S. trademark of Labatt Brewing Company, Ltd.
Share your thoughts all morning long on the Meyer guest line. Call 248-951-2176. That's 248-951-2176. Now, back to Danny, Ryan, and AB.
Welcome back here to X's and Bros, Michigan Sports Network. Great to have you ride along with us. Is this the start of Metal Monday here on the show? Is that what we have going on here? Are you all in?
Oh, dude, we need to remember what. I have to go back and look in the text. What was that song that Will asked us to play?
It
was like Thunder something.
Thunderstruck.
Roads.
Thunderbolt.
I'll have to look in the text.
All right, it was a long weekend for the Detroit Tigers, who some believe that they would make it to 500. I just want them to win the series. God bless him, Freddie. I'm excited for my pizza, though. Yesterday had a decent opportunity until the bases were juiced in the bottom of the ninth inning. The game was tied at 2, and this is how that thing ended. Grand slam, just like that. A walk-off grand slam. So, good for the Tigers to allow that opportunity to someone to hit a walk-off grand slam in a Major League Baseball game after an absolutely dismal season. Also, very, very good here. Terry on the west side says the Tigers' projected season-ending record is now 74-88, which would be a modest improvement over last year's actual 66-96. Record. How about that? Terry's back. Welcome back, Terry. Great to have you. Man, I'm telling you what an absolutely awful weekend for the Tigers. Just doesn't get much worse than that. 6-2 losers yesterday. It was Lang that gave up the grand slam in a third of an inning, right? 2 hits, 4 runs, all 4 were earned. He walked 2, he struck out 1. Just a disaster. Matt Boyd, the starter, 5 innings pitched, 3 hits, 1 earned run, 9 strikeouts for Boyd in the game. The team as a whole, they struck out the White Sox 14 times. The Tigers only struck out 12 times, only drew 1 walk to Chicago's 4 yesterday. But it was all about that grand slam there at the end. And more injuries starting to pile up even more for this team. We'll get to that a little bit later on. But man, what an awful weekend, and a weekend you really could have, set your, distance yourself a little bit, could have set the tone for yourself a little bit, gain a little bit more ground. The Tigers lose 3-0 in game 1, 2-1 on Saturday, and 6-2 on Sunday. A grand total of 3 runs scored the entire weekend after they got 3 pretty good starts for the most part out of their starting pitchers. And 26-31 is now where they find themselves, which means that they are tied with Cleveland, even though Cleveland's 27-32, and they're both 3.5 games back of Minnesota. Detroit's worthless weekend has the White Sox now only 2 games back at 26-35. Wow. What a disappointment. Now the Tigers have lost 5 of 6. We haven't seen a stretch like this for the Tigers in what feels like a while. And this is one of the worst stretches that they're in this year right now. Seems pretty
Yeah, and this is like we've talked about the swings in this schedule. Early on it was very difficult, AL East. Then it was pretty light there for a while. Then it, picked up for a minute with Seattle. But you have to beat the White Sox. They're not playing up to their standards. And the Tigers played well below their standards this weekend. I didn't catch an inning of the games. I was just paying attention, obviously watching on Twitter with what happened on Saturday, that debacle. I think that was Saturday. But yeah, it's you have to beat the White Sox. they just aren't a good baseball team.
Which, side note, Saturday's ending is the most hilarious ending to ever win or lose a game. He was bases loaded, and a wild pitch that hits the umpire right in the face. That leads to a walk-off wild pitch. All 3 runs in the game scored were off wild pitches.
Not great.
Not great,
Not
but if
great.
it was the other way around, we having, laughing, having fun with how that game ended.
We would definitely enjoy it more.
It's
always
enjoying the
easier to
hilarity
enjoy.
of the situation.
Oh, yeah. I've been calling for Jose Cisnero to be off this team since last year. That happening was – I do feel – you got to feel bad for the umpire because you take 94 to the face mask without expecting it. Not pleasant, I would imagine, but it was a funny way to lose a baseball game.
It's it's not good. It's not good.
And I don't know, did you hear? I didn't listen to the audio. I guess Jose Cisnero claims he heard fastball, and I didn't know this. Apparently, I guess there's a few of the fielders also have the pitch comm in their ear, and they all said they heard slider.
Well, that explains it. I don't know how they pitch with that.
Well, did you see Zach Greinke when he was pitching against the Tigers? He has it on the outside of his mitt. So, where the Wilson logo is or the Rawlings logo, that's where his pitch comm is.
Yeah, I don't I'm sure you get used to it, whether, it's in your ear or on your glove or whatever the case may be. But
Zach Greinke also, 1 of 1. Last year his pitch comm wasn't working, so he was just yelling at his catcher, "Fastball! I'm gonna throw a fastball."
You could use your fingers and make like a sign. They could assign pitches to different fingers.
Some of them still do it old school, and they are the teams that get stolen on the most. It's proven.
Wow. I've been picking it up the whole time. You tap the inside of your thighs, 1, 2, 3, 4, all that stuff. More tapping to the thighs. Boom. Done. Fastball. And you don't have to yell at anybody. The Tigers will be back in action tonight. They'll continue their road swing against the Philadelphia Phillies tonight. The 6:40 first pitch time in Philly, 6:40 tomorrow as well. 6:05 on Wednesday, another off day on Thursday before a 3-game series against the Arizona Diamondbacks at home this weekend, which includes one 11:35 a.m. first pitch against Arizona that will be streamed on Peacock. There you go. Peacock getting on the action on Major League Baseball as well. Golf season is here, and now Matt Golden and his team are ready to welcome you to one of the best golfing experiences in the great state of Michigan. It's Tullymore Golf Resort. It's located in Canadian Lakes. It offers not 1 but 2 championship courses, Tullymore and St. Ives. It's located about an hour north of Grand Rapids, 30 minutes west of Mount Pleasant. It's up north golf without the drive, and if you live in northern Michigan, it's only a couple hours south. So hop in the car, smack dab in the middle of the state. It's easy to get to no matter where you are at. Tullymore not only features top-of-the-line golfing, but also top-of-the-line accommodations and the perfect space for your wedding event, reception, or group outing. Visit TullymoreGolf.com. That's TullymoreGolf.com. Or call Matt personally at 1-800-972-4837. That's 1-800-972-4837. Call Matt Golden. Tell him we sent you. Book your stay and play at Tullymore today. When we step aside, we'll return, and we will talk Heat's Nuggets. Game number 2 in the Mile High City of the NBA Finals. And the Miami Heat somehow, some way, after the Nuggets spotted in the first 6 minutes of the ball game, the Nuggets roared back, took the lead, and the Heat won the basketball game. We'll talk about it next year. X's and Bros, Michigan Sports Network.
Perfectly primed steaks, handcrafted cocktails, warm hospitality. Ruth's Chris Steakhouse, coming soon to Soaring Eagle Casino Resort. This isn't just any dining experience. It's an unparalleled steakhouse experience where USDA prime beef is cooked to perfection and your last bite is as good as your first. All with a sign of Ruth's legendary hospitality. Ruth's Chris Steakhouse, coming soon to Soaring Eagle Casino Resort. Your getaway reimagined.
huge here for the Michigan High School Athletic Association. You can stay up to date on the latest from Lansing 24/7 at MHSAA.com, at MHSAA on Twitter, and MHSAA on Facebook. The latest news, press releases, and stories connected to every high school in the state of Michigan, available for you 24/7 from the Michigan High School Athletic Association. Log on to MHSAA.com, at MHSAA on Twitter, and MHSAA on Facebook. And if you're looking for archive boys and girls high school sports, MHSAA.TV. That's MHSAA.TV. 24/7, everything you need to know about high school sports in Michigan. Log on to MHSAA.com.
They say consistency is the key to success. They weren't wrong. So how about grabbing a beer that's consistently smooth, consistently refreshing, and consistently light? You might just find that the road to success can be pretty enjoyable. Michelob Ultra, the perfect balance of taste and refreshment, and only 2.6 carbs and 95 calories. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
You're listening to X's and Bros on the Michigan Sports Network. Can't call in? Text us using the keyword sports radio and send it to 21000 or tweet us at XB Mornings. Now back to Danny Cahalan, Ryan Elke, and Anthony Bellino.
Robinson fires and hits a three-pointer. Duncan Robinson 3 for 3, all here to start the fourth quarter, and it's a 2-point game. Timeout Denver. 8 points already.
America runs on Duncan Robinson last night in the fourth quarter. Simply spectacular.
I mean, I surprised myself with the fact that I pulled that one out. That was not premeditated at all. That was a spur-of-the-moment sort of thing. Truth be told, I don't get a lot of moments throughout the season to break that one out. So when you get one, you got to try to take advantage of it, I guess. But mostly just trying to, play with a certain level of joy. I feel like I play my best when I'm having fun, and I'm always going to try to be respectful with it, but having fun and enjoying just this stage. I mean, this is an incredible stage to be on as a player. This is what you dream about. So it doesn't make any sense to get here and not enjoy it.
Duncan Robinson with a little snarl. He does have to work on his snarl face. It's quite comical. He looks like one of those dogs that looks really old. Like they're like smaller dogs, but they always have like a frown on their face. You know what I'm talking about? That's kind of what he reminded me of in that moment, like a 60-year-old Yorkshire or something like that. Just but that's his mean mug. Like that's his that's his face. That's what he does. And I find his story this year has been pretty wild. The roller coaster that he has been on all year, from signing that big contract to kind of disappearing, to getting benched, to now being one of the he's giving him quality minutes. But if you're the Miami Heat and you're in game two, love Duncan. If you're the Miami Heat, you have to find some way to try to get a game there in game two. Because if not, I mean, people are already talking about sweep. I don't see how Miami wins a game. I don't know if I'm listening to all of that noise. But in 17 minutes to score 10 points on 4 of 5 shooting, including 2 of 3 from 3. I mean, that was the difference in the game, in game two, is that the Miami Heat finally knocked down some shots, especially from the perimeter, where they shot just shy of 50%. They were 48.6% from 3 on 17 of 35. They were 18 of 20 from the free throw line and 38 of 78 from the field. I mean, when you make shots, you got a better chance of winning. Jimmy Butler said it last night in his postgame. Make or miss game, make or miss league. We started. We finally hit some shots. And it's not like Denver didn't shoot it very well. I mean, they shot almost 40% from 3. They were 52% from the field for a minute there in the fourth quarter. It felt like nobody was going to miss, and it was just an exciting game and much different from game one stylistically. So the Miami Heat, they begin the game by starting Kevin Love, who knocked down a couple of triples. He played 22 minutes, but he started the game, and he was 2 of 9. So let's not act like he did went crazy. But he did have 10 rebounds, an assist, and a couple of steals in his limited minutes, and that was a decision that they decided to make. Going into game two, is that they were going to start Kevin Love. You got 21 from Jimmy Butler, 21, 9, and 4 from Bam Adebayo, with that great dunk in the pass from Kyle Lowry at the end of the game to draw the contact and one. That was fantastic. Gabe Vincent was 8 of 12 from the floor. He had 23 points. He was fantastic. Max Strus was knocking him down early. That's about all he knocked down was early. But he had 14 points on 4 of 10 shooting. I think all four made buckets came in the first 5 minutes of the game, in which Denver refused to score. Denver scored 108 points, and they didn't score diddly in the first, 4 or 5 minutes of the game. It was 10-2 with 7:51 remaining in the first quarter. 10-2. I was like, wow, offensive slugfest here. A slugfest. They still hit 219 on the total. I don't know what the total points was, going in, but that's a pretty good number right there. 219. I have to imagine that might have been the over or closer to. But Denver spotted Miami the first 4 minutes and change of this game, and then came roaring back with a monstrous second quarter where, they start off down 3, 26-23 at the end of the first quarter, and then, Denver opens up 34 points scored. Bruce Brown getting in on the action, to take the lead by halftime, and that's when it felt like, okay, this is Denver going to run away. We'll wait and see in the second half, and Miami just would not go away. They played them tight in the third, and they won the game in the fourth quarter because they made shots, and I think that defensively for Miami, the first strategy was game one, let's try to take some of the offense away from Nikola Jokic. In game two, it's like give him whatever he wants, and let's try to do a better job on everybody else. And sure, Jokic had 41 points and 11 rebounds, but only 4 assists. That was it. Jamal Murray had a decent night shooting the ball in 7 of 15, but he only scored 18. Michael Porter Jr. didn't do really much of anything. He had 5 points. He was just out there doing some cardio. Aaron Gordon had 12 and 7 rebounds in 38 minutes, but they didn't get the bench scoring. And, Kentavious was 1 of 4 for 6 points in 36 minutes, only managed 4 shots. So, that's just a much better job defensively from Miami in game 2 than in game 1. And, if Jokic is going to go for 41, you can't let anybody else beat you. They did a really good job. Miami, on the other hand, they played 10 guys. I think all 10 guys checked in the first quarter. Very, very cohesive team, very active together, which is something that if you are a fan of basketball, if you are coaching at the youth levels, it's fun to see a professional team get that much input from so many different guys, because it's something that you'll do all the time. You'll be rotating 5s at a time, or you'll play sometimes in a game 10, 12, 15 different kids. You can imagine how difficult that is. Now try to do it at the professional level. It's not easy at all. Miami was able to do that and have guys come in and give them meaningful minutes. Kyle Lowry didn't play the entire game, and I think that the plus minus numbers are very interesting. Jimmy Butler was only +3 in 40 minutes, but Bam Adebayo was +17 in 40 minutes. How did that happen? You know what I mean? The plus minus in hoops, I really find, I just don't know what the story is there. I don't know if I have a full grasp. It's the same way that you would run plus minus in hockey, but I don't know the story that it tells. I feel like it's kind of a convenient stat there. If somebody's having a bad game, they're out there on the court they're a -30. The other team is blowing their doors off. Okay, I know how to read it, but I just don't know how to necessarily apply it all the time. And yesterday is one of those games. It's one of those games.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I'm kind of in agreement with you. They haven't shown. I don't think it's really worth anything to a basketball fan, the plus minus. I mean, hockey, yes, I get it. Basketball, it's there's hundreds of points being scored. It's not, 3 goals.
Right, and even in the hundreds of points, so the difference between, Bam Adebayo was a +17, Gabe Vincent was a +22, Kyle Lowry was a -15, Highsmith was a -17. So, okay, our bench guys came in and we were getting outscored. I guess, I don't know. Okay, our team gives up way more points when player X is in the game. Why is that? All right, that's some information that you could use in a film session, at practice. Maybe there's just a particular matchup. You wouldn't want to have, Duncan Robinson guarding Steph Curry. That's not going to work out well for you. So if Duncan Robinson runs out there and he's got to guard Steph Curry, or if Duncan Robinson for this series has to guard Jimmy Butler, that's not going to work out. Jimmy Butler's going to be able to get to wherever he wants to go, do whatever he wants to do, and get every shot that he wants. There's not going to be, They're just not going to be able to defend him very well if that's your primary defender. And that, to me, seems like a much easier adjustment just by looking. Like, I don't need a stat sheet to tell me that.
That or maybe not just individual players plus minus, but maybe if you had a lineups plus minus would be more telling.
Yeah, what your rotation looks like and how do you fix that?
Because then you could be like, all right, who did what wrong? Because if your plus minus is in single digits, then it's like, all right, really there's nothing to look at there. So when it gets into the 17, 18s, higher than that, then it's like, okay, either something really good happened when you were on the court, something really bad happened.
Like Gabe Vincent was plus 22 in 32 minutes. That's the highest plus minus out of anybody on either team. Like, so take this, for example. The Nuggets bench was plus 34 as a whole. The bench was. Bruce Brown by himself was plus 14. 4 of 9 for the field, 11 points, 5 rebounds, couple of steals. Did have 3 turnovers.
Denver went on a 40-14 run. So, and I think part of that started when Jokic was off the floor. So when you're Miami, you're like, okay, what did we do wrong during this time? A lot happened.
What in God's green earth have we done? What have we done, and why is this happening? Now that he's getting his rest, how does that happen? But good for the Miami Heat. I mean, they found a way to win this game. They were looking at a 2-0 deficit straight in the eye. They gave up a monster 41 points to the real MVP, Nikola Jokic. And they didn't, I don't know how much of this is Heat culture, all that stuff. Like, it does matter because they are a very cohesive unit. Like, it absolutely does matter.
I say Heat culture is Kevin Love playing for the first time in 3 games and being a plus 17. Duncan Robinson having a 10-2 run by himself at the start of the 4th quarter. Like, that's Heat culture of, like, Duncan Robinson, who throughout his entire tenure at the Miami Heat feels like, hey, we love Duncan, and now we hate Duncan, and he won't play for a week.
Yeah.
Like, it's, and the Heat culture of it all is having guys go through that and not being like, I want to be traded.
Not just crying and running away.
Right. So I think that's part of the Heat culture is that they will take their lumps, and then when it's their time, they're ready to produce.
Miami was up in this game 21-10. It was the second biggest lead any opponent had built in Denver so far in the playoffs. Like, they don't lose at home. And then in the blink of an eye, the Nuggets outscored Miami 32-11 over the next 9 minutes. 3-point barrage. In 70 seconds in the second quarter, Denver hit 4 threes, which was worth more points than Miami had in that entire 9-minute stretch. You had Brown, Jeff Green, Murray, Gordon, like everybody, one after another, was making shots. The end of that game was spectacular. Did you guys see the 4th quarter, like the final 4.5 minutes?
Oh, yeah, I watched the entire game.
I mean, it was just bucket. I mean, it was that's professional offense right there. It is beautiful
and
to watch.
If Miami would have lost that game, the story would have been, hey, Eric Spoelstra, you had 2 timeouts when Denver was firing threes away in the last 3 minutes and making them. You had a 10-point lead. It got down to like 3, and you're sitting there. I get you want to save 1 timeout. You want to save it if you have to challenge something. But you still have another one in your back pocket.
That'll be a big question, too, for Mike Malone, head coach of the Nuggets. Okay, so Denver gets the ball, and they get the ball with like under 12 seconds remaining. And they don't call timeout, right? Off a rebound.
They got a quality shot. It's not like it wasn't just missed the shot.
Right, so that was what was being debated. Jalen and Wilbon and Screamin' A after the game, they were debating whether or not they should have called timeout there. I actually don't mind.
Me either, especially with Denver, with how prolific their offense is, where you'd rather have Miami kind of trying to be setting up their defense on the fly instead of getting Eric Spoelstra time to, counter anything you do out of bounds, since he has a timeout as well.
Yeah, the only thing I wish is that there would have been some actual offense ran there, that final possession, instead of just high pick and pop. Like that's it. Like I need one more person to do something. Like down screen on the backside. Right? Let's get a skip pass in there and then a shot. You know what I mean? Something. Anything. I don't even care what it is. But, when you just settle for that high pick and roll, I feel like you do your team a disservice, because then that's it. It's the two-man game. They know you need 3. It's 111 to 108. Like, there's just, I don't think there's not enough time to go for 2 there.
I think it was Jimmy Butler was defending. He's also not coming anywhere near fouling you.
Yeah, he's not KCP.
So, yeah, exactly. He wasn't coming anywhere near fouling you, so you knew, I'm going to get a look. It's tough.
It is. That's a tough, and there will be some criticism there. I don't mind not calling the timeout. I have no problem with that at all. I like the fact that they didn't, just for flow of the game purposes. That to me was fine. And look, I want the series to go 7. So if the Heat had to win it, then they got the win. And I'm happy about it.
This game was a good game. Like game one,
very entertaining.
Game 1 was just, it was over. It was over quickly. Denver got a 15-point lead and never looked back, and it was just over. And that's how it was looking like in the second quarter of this game. And then Duncan Robinson happened at the start of the fourth.
Sometimes that's all that needs to happen. By the way, the commissioner told NBA TV before the game, listen to this, they got a new CBA coming up. It's got to get ratified. Silver thinks that the new media negotiations will begin in earnest probably this next upcoming spring. And that after that, quote, we don't have anything specific in mind right now, but I think it makes sense over time. If you're a successful organization and continue to grow, there's no doubt there's a lot of great cities we're interested in having in the NBA. Expansion coming to the league. It's going to happen. All right, folks, got to remind you to step into the world of nonstop action with the DraftKings Casino. Play all the classics like blackjack, roulette, slots, my favorite craps. Plus, enjoy exclusive games you can't find anywhere else. Right now, new customers who deposit at least $5 can match their first deposit and score up to $2,000 in casino bonus funds. All you have to do is sign up, select the offer of your choice, and start playing from a full suite of games. Your way is the only way to play over at DraftKings. Download the DraftKings Casino app right now. You sign up using the promo code HUGE and get a match of your first deposit of $5 up to $2,000 in casino bonus funds. Only at DraftKings, only using the promo code HUGE. Now, if you or somebody you know has a gambling problem, wants help, needs help, call the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services Gambling Disorder Helpline at 800-270-7117. 21 plus, Michigan only. 1 per opted-in customer. Minimum $5 deposit, max match $2,000. Deposit and bonus amount require 15 times playthrough within 30 days. See terms at casino.draftkings.com/players choice. Restrictions do apply. Hour 2 is next. X's and Bros, Michigan Sports Network.
The Michigan Association of Chiefs of Police wants you to know that June is Gun Violence Awareness Month. Why do we need to recognize gun violence? Because we can stop it before it happens. Many people contemplating an act of gun violence display significant or sudden changes in their behavior. If you know what to look for, you can be the difference. Search 10 critical warning signs of violence or contact your local police department to learn more.
Have you ever played golf at Tullymore, St. Ives? Have you experienced a stay-and-play package in Canadian Lakes, Michigan, less than an hour north of Grand Rapids? Well, here's what you need to do if you want to take advantage of great deals right now. Go to TullymoreGolf.com. That's TullymoreGolf.com, and you'll see the link for packages, accommodations, dining, meetings, weddings, events, and so much more, and especially golf on the 18-hole layout at Tullymore and the 18 holes at St. Ives. And they can accommodate any group, whether it's 2 people getting together or 200 looking for a weekend or an overnight celebration. That includes a little business, golf, great food, and beverages. Just go to TullymoreGolf.com. That's TullymoreGolf.com. They're located in Canadian Lakes, Michigan, less than an hour north of GR. Get more info at TullymoreGolf.com. Huge here for my good friend Tom Rosenbach and his team at Bean Carter. They're one of America's top accounting and business firms. They're based in downtown Grand Rapids, and now they're stronger than ever before with their new partnership with Dorn Mayhew. Now, Dorn Mayhew is an east side firm. Now you get the west side of Michigan with Bean Carter, and whether you're a small business or big business, they can handle all of your accounting and business needs at Bean Carter. Just go to beancarter.com. That is BEENEGARTER.com. And I mentioned with their new partnership with Dorn Mayhew, they cover all of Michigan, the Midwest, and coast to coast. Find out how the pros at Bean Carter can help your business today. Go to beancarter.com. That is BEENEGARTER.com. And I know Tom Rosenbach and his team are so happy about their new partnership with Dorn Mayhew.
We might have just come out with our most refreshing Michelob Ultra Organic Seltzer yet. It's called the Essential Collection. It's made with coconut water and real fruit juice, so it's always going to have a real refreshing fruit taste. Can refreshing get any more refreshing? Yep, it can, and it just did. Michelob Ultra Organic Seltzer, made with coconut water and real fruit juice for a superior taste. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch Michelob Ultra Organic Seltzer, IRC Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Good morning, everyone.
It's time for Michigan Sports Talk Morning Show, broadcasting live all across the state of Michigan and Northwest Ohio. This is X's and Bros.
How are you?
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
It's a good morning. Wake up to a brand new day.
Hello. Good morning.
Good morning, Vietnam!
Here's your host, Anthony Bellino.
Rise and shine, folks. Good Monday morning to you. It is the 5th day of June, 2023. Welcome here to X's and Bros on the Michigan Sports Network. Danny Cahill, Ryan Elke, Anthony Bellino, all joining you. Thank you for joining us, no matter who you are, where you are, how you may be listening, all across the great state of Michigan and in Northwest Ohio, from Traverse City down to the Glass City GR to the Motor City. We say good morning to you. We welcome you. We thank you. We appreciate you. And, of course, we encourage you. Join the program at any time. You can text the keyword Sports Radio. Send that to 21,000. Sports Radio to 21000. Myers Supercenter guest line, 248-951-2176. 248-951-2176. We're on Twitter at XB Mornings, Facebook, X's and Bros, and, of course, good morning to our television audience as well on both BCSN and streaming live on our YouTube page at Michigan Sports Network. Add a .com to that to find our website. Danny Cahill is a Dan in the studio. Ryan Elke is at RyanL_Key. And I'm Anthony Bellino at AC Bellino. We've got a couple of texts here. Duncan Robinson, a great Michigan player. Not sure how he slipped in the draft. Well, he doesn't have top-end athleticism, so I'll tell you how he slipped in the draft.
And he didn't play defense for the first 4 years of his NBA career.
Yeah, like
he still struggles with that. That's why he doesn't. That's why he falls out of rotation with Miami. So Eric Spoelstra will get mad at him, bench him for a week.
Yeah, I mean you're there to knock down shots. Like you're a spot-up shooter. And in good movement without the ball last night as well. He keeps getting that little dive to the bucket.
So that's been the key for him for this entire playoff run is the pump fake and drive into the basket.
How about that baseline take he had?
Right?
Wow. Okay, he said, hey, I don't get too many of those opportunities.
When he said no top-end athleticism, did you watch last night?
Yeah. Yes, I did. Fire A.J. Hinch. Promote Chris Fetter to the manager and go find a new guy now. Wow. I can't believe 10 minutes after I texted to promote Chris Fetter, I learned Roger Craig just passed, Sparky's pitching coach. Became a really good manager a few years later in San Francisco. It's how I became a San Francisco fan as well, plus the 49ers. Promote Fetter to manager. I freaking bet all 3 games. Yes, awful. Up yours, Scott Harris. When I started to believe it, it's 3 games. It's 3 games. You're not going to fire the manager, A.J. Hinch, whoever we were just praising last week. Is it his fault that they can't score a run? Goodness, great. They scored 3 runs in 3 days. You're not going to get any sort of wins out of a schedule like that. Also, we got to have a come to Jesus moment. Guys, I don't know what happened, but I stink at golf. Like my drive was so bad.
Dan and I
yesterday.
will give you our thoughts on our golf games tomorrow morning.
We're
going to give it up.
I couldn't get off I'm hitting this giant just slice all of a sudden off the tee. Like it was so bad that mid-round there's a tool that you can unscrew a weight in the club, and I was like, maybe I'll try this because it was set up to fade because I used to snap hook it all the time, and now I don't do that ever. So
Did you disqualify yourself from the round?
No.
You modified a club mid-round.
Modified the hell out of it. I shift the weight down to the heel, right? So it's set up for a draw now. And I get 2 par 4s that are both dogleg lefts. And I hit draws on both of them. The second one was just absolutely perfect, middle of the fairway, 50 yards out from the green, hit a lob wedge in, 2-putt, make a par. Like, dude, this game is easy, right? This game is easy. I don't know what's going on. Part of it is I'm having trouble keeping my head down. We go to play through this foursome. Just me and Gian out there, twilight round, whatever. Easy, good way to end the weekend. That poor guy's playing miserable the first 5 holes. I looked at it, I was like, look, you just got to put 13 good holes together. You got 13 holes left. And in that stretch, after I said that, he goes 4 holes of even golf. 2 pars, a birdie, and a bogey. He's feeling really good, just blew up on the back. Like, poor guy, just getting his brains beat in out there. I mean, I can't get off the tee worth a damn. I hit like 2 or 3 good drives the entire day where it's like, I know this human is in me. I have seen this person hit this ball before. I have seen it. Now, did the weight really work? I mean, it felt like it because I hit a couple where I'm like, oh, that's gone. And it started up on the right side of the fairway and it drew back in. I'm like, maybe this weight really does work. But the one par 4, man, I blow through the fairway. I end up like right by the next hole's tee box. I'm under a tree, but the branches aren't, like, the limbs aren't gonna interfere at all. Like, I can hit a regular lob wedge, no big deal, and that's gonna be it. I'm gonna hit it onto the green, give myself a chance at a birdie, right? No, blade the lob wedge out of bounds. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna just nuke this thing 100 yards and just whee, there it goes. See ya. Goodbye. I don't know what happened. Like, my God. I got to have to go to the range, try to figure some stuff out. Now I'm in my own head. I'm trying to fix things mid-round. I'm adjusting clubs mid-round. Like, who does that? Ridiculous. I don't know what's going on. I mean, I was god-awful yesterday. The putting wasn't terrible. My iron play was good, but I couldn't get off the tee. Hey, what's the worst thing you can do when you play, when someone's letting you play through? What's the worst thing that you think you could do?
Oh, you scuff it off the tee and hit it like
Bro,
12 feet.
I topped it, and the ball made a mark in the ground in front of the tee. Like that's where my divot was.
Yeah.
Like, that's how hard the ball hit the ground. So I'm like, wow. They're like, oh, yeah, glad we let these guys play through, right? It's a par 5 of all the holes to do that on, a par 5.
Did you just tee it back up?
No, we drive up to the ball. It goes like 13 feet.
Did you have to drive?
Yeah, I could have walked, but it's faster to drive the 13 feet. Grab my 3-wood and just pound one. They're like, oh, wow, look at that. I'm like, I should have done it the first time. Idiot. Unbelievable how bad I am right now.
Yeah, when I was golfing, not this past weekend, but the prior weekend, doing twilight golf. No one behind my father and I. There was a father-son ahead of us. And on one hole, like, they were just waiting for us. And like, hey, guys, do you want to play through? And we're like, no. Like, there's literally no one behind us. They're like, you guys take your time as well. Like, if you guys are taking your time, we'll take our time on the previous hole. Like, we're all good. We don't want to feel rushed for a hole to get ahead of you.
Yeah, I noticed that we so there was 3 guys that were making on the back 9. They were good. They were driving to 13 as we were going to tee off on 10. We caught them on 14. I'm like, how could you play that slow? And like, we played through that group and never saw them again. See ya. Like, but we don't rush. We just play fast. You know, hit the ball, drive up to the ball, hit the next shot. Like, I don't know what takes so long out there. And goodness gracious. You can play good golf or play bad golf, but play fast golf. And I was happy that the foursome let us play through. It's good etiquette there on their part.
Was there anyone behind you before that?
There was, but we didn't see them again.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know what happened to them. They just disappeared into the distance on the front 9. And that's because we were waiting because there were 3 groups in front of us that weren't groups. They were all solo golfers. I'm like, why wouldn't they just pair all 3 of you guys together? Like, what are we doing here? We're going to wait on 3 solos and be waiting every shot? Like, why don't you guys none of you guys can hit the damn thing. Why don't you guys all play together and not hit it together, but we'll play through? Incredible. Incredible.
Yeah, I really think people don't know that that's a thing and that it's been going on for 100 years. So guess what? You're going to play with the other people.
Yeah.
Like, people go in there and they're like, I just want to play solo. No.
If you're going
that's not how it works.
If you're going to, you got to be like the last guy off or the first guy off, right? Or it's got to be a really slow day. Because like when I was down in Florida, you know, I would tee off by myself, and then you know I would run into people that were waiting, and I would join them, or I would be waiting on a hole, and people would come up from the previous hole, and I'd let them join me, or they'd pair me with somebody. Because they're like, yeah, we're not gonna have one golf, and that was the one day that I got to play with the kid who was playing at FAU. You know, you want to play good golf, watch kids like this. You could just tell. Just the way he walked, I'm like, yeah, this guy plays. All right, we'll step aside. We'll be back with more X's and Bros. We've got Tigers injury news coming at you next here on the Michigan Sports Network.
They say consistency is the key to success. They weren't wrong. So how about grabbing a beer that's consistently smooth, consistently refreshing, and consistently light? You might just find that the road to success can be pretty enjoyable. Michelob Ultra, the perfect balance of taste and refreshment, and only 2.6 carbs and 95 calories. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Huge here for the Michigan High School Athletic Association. Now you can follow everything Michigan High School sports 24/7 at MHSAA.com. On Twitter, at MHSAA. On Facebook, MHSAA. And you can watch archive sports and live sports in season for boys and girls all across Michigan, all schools, at MHSAA.tv. But stay up to date on everything Michigan High School sports at MHSAA.com.
From planting a simple seed to managing a global food supply, growing, processing, and distributing food is the backbone of America. You deal with food safety and labor issues, cost control, and not to mention Mother Nature. But do you have time to explore research development and biotechnical tax credits? Properly administer payroll for temporary employees. Ensure that you're operating at your most profitable? That's where we come in. We're Bean Garter. And while your business is America's food supply, our business is helping you run your business better. We'll assist with tax credits, assess your processes and controls, and so much more. And while we may not be able to help you plant your crops, we can help you realize a rich financial harvest. From the family farm to worldwide distribution of all the things you grow, grow your business better. Experience service, expertise, and simplicity at Bean Garter. Find us online, beangarter.com. Bean Garter.
star to the Motor City. You're listening to X's and Bros on the Michigan Sports Network.
Welcome back here to X's and Bros on the Michigan Sports Network. Danny Cahalan, Ryan Elke, Anthony Bellino, all joining you. Ken just sent this in Sunday, August 20th at Riverview Highlands. Man, I haven't played Riverview Highlands in forever. That's on my list of things to do, coming soon here this summer. But they have the 2012 Trenton Blades golf outing fundraiser. You know what? Riverview Highlands. Let's slap a little
I know
on that.
I might. I don't know if I'm working that day. I know I have a concert that night.
Ooh.
But I don't know if I'm working during the day.
What is it's a Sunday. Registration at 8, shotgun start at 9. Huh? The old Trenton Blades. Might have to get in on a whole sponsorship. Just make a big head of Dan. And just have Dan's head there on the tee box staring at everybody as they tee off. Huh? You put Ryan's face up by the green, like in the bushes. See, imagine you trying to putt with that going on over there. All right, bad news for the Tigers. Another starting pitcher is hitting the injured list. Not good, but Alex Faedo's on the 15-day DL. It was put there Saturday. It's retroactive, though, to May 30th, so he could return as early as middle of the month if his finger heals quickly. It's an issue with his fingernail on his right middle finger, which apparently affects his ability to grip the baseball. Now, he is the 4th Tigers starter to hit the injured list since the start of the season. He joins Eduardo Rodriguez, Spencer Turnbull, and Matt Manning on the list. There's 3 others, by the way, Tarek Skubal, Bo Brisky, and Casey Mize, that haven't even pitched this season. Everybody except for Mize is expected back this year. So we could have a situation where the cupboard is more than full, but Faedo is the next man down.
Well, let me say, as a man who smashed his thumbnail over the weekend, I feel your pain, Alex Faedo.
Yeah, what's going on with his right middle finger nail? Like, what's wrong with it? Like, what are you chewing it? You picking it? Like, what are you doing? You got a hangnail you can't pitch with? Like, what's happening here?
Yeah, I guess we probably, the 3 of us, don't really know the trials and tribulations of throwing a baseball like every single day, and like, yeah,
no, not at all.
So we don't really know the effects it has on your skin and your hands and how they feel. But I would imagine if you're a pitcher, like, yeah, there's wear and tear on your fingers you probably just don't even think about when you're a normal person.
You can't put some new skin on there? Or
new
some
skin, is that allowed?
I don't know. What's that other liquid stuff that fixes everything? JB Weld? Just slap some JB Weld on there. You'll be back in action in no time. JB Weld's like it's like Flex Seal, but it actually works. You know Flex Seal? You know, when you have a boat, but you have a screen door.
When your whole screen door like rips open while you're in the middle of a lake.
Yeah, and it's like, how am I going to get my boat from one side to the other if I have a hole in my boat? Well, we'll just put a screen door there and Flex Seal it.
You're telling me that's all a lie?
Flex tape. That's I can tell you, JB Weld works a whole hell of a lot better than that stuff. But the 4th Tiger starter to hit the IL, my goodness, and especially after the outings that they got to begin this weekend. I mean, that's a tough weekend to go 0-3. Now a little injury bug. Oh, you suck at golf because you keep avoiding me, says one texter. Jeez Louise. Why do I have to suck? Why can't I just play not very well? Why can't I just say I stink? Dave in Hudsonville wants to talk about the Tigers pitchers. Good morning, Dave. How are you, my friend?
Hey, AB. Hey, not even so much about the Tigers, but your topic with pitchers' hands, like the number one thing for them, man, it's crazy. And those middle 3 fingers on their throwing hand, between, first of all, developing calluses or, being able to avoid blisters. But the second thing, if you talk to some pitchers sometimes, like the amount of times they take care of, like with manicures, and then even some put like not polish on, but strengthener on those nails, because a lot of them dig in, like with that knuckle curve or with some other things that go on. Like I would imagine he may have like that middle fingernail might just be split down the middle, or it might be cracked apart to the point where they put so much pressure to try to dig in and do that, and that's why a lot of them, like put stuff on their nails in order to try to protect them. And like pitchers are obsessive about like trimming their fingernails and about the length of their fingernails. A lot of them, especially when it comes to the grip.
Yeah, if it was split down the middle, like could he take a picture and tweet it? You know, like so we could see what's going on there. Because if it's split down the middle, then yeah, I'd rather not even talk about it. Throw some Neosporin or some black salve on it, and good luck. And then you have to paint your. You got to put that like nail hardening stuff on them.
Sometime when you get a chance, like get Dan Petrie or get a pitcher on and talk to him about that, because early on, especially when they're trying to develop their calluses, it's the same thing for feet. If you're a basketball player.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you don't have your calluses, you know, whatever, and you come back and you start getting into a bad situation with your feet, you can miss all sorts of games.
You know what's interesting? You mentioned that about feet, and when you get a new pair of shoes, they talk about like breaking in your shoes. There are some manufacturers of shoes where you could take them out of the box and wear them that day, and they are just fine, right? And your feet feel great. And then there's like the when I was younger, they had the team shoes that they always used to promote in the East Bay magazine. So our team would decide on what color or whatever for $50 or $60 at the time, and your feet would your feet would be melted, like the insoles would be shot, like it would. They just like you could tell why they were $50. It makes sense. They are saying now that Lonzo Ball's career might be over because of his reoccurring issues that he's been having, and they're talking about blaming the shoe. They're talking about big baller brand shoes and the fact that the shoes could have ruined his career.
Well, the other thing too, AB, the first thing John Wooden used to talk about, first thing he do with his team, how to put on your socks, and he would flip the socks inside out so they did not get blisters, and talk to them how to put them on because the softest side of the sock is on the outside. So I remember reading John Wooden's book on the Pyramid of Success, and the first thing he taught his team, how to put on your socks.
Oh, I love that. Boy, I wish I would have known that. The softest part of the sock is the outside. I wonder why that is.
Yeah, I don't know, man, but interesting.
It is very interesting, Dave. Now that I'm thinking about it, I have socks on right now, and I'm thinking about it. I'm like, you know what? The ones I have on now are pretty decent, but you're right. The outside of the sock, I know that it's nicer.
Oh, and most people wear socks way too long, especially from a coaching standpoint. The outside is nicer, and then people overuse them to the point where they get too thin, especially if you're doing like football or basketball, or if you're going a lot on your feet, and then it wears and creates those blisters, man.
Got to take care of your feet. Don't want to get trench foot out there. Change your socks.
Have a good one, brother.
All right, Dave, you too. Man, that was informative right there. There's a phone call for you. Change your socks, people. You know? Keep your feet dry. You don't want to get any trench foot. You get gangrene down there. That's no good. Got to take care of your feet. It's crazy, though. Yeah, you think about John Wooden. You think about anybody who's served in the military. Like, yeah, you talk about taking care of your feet. Like, they talked about all the time. And it's interesting now you think about it, you just take it for granted. You just wear the same socks, and they're blown out. You got holes in them. They're crusty. I tell you what, I like the little ankle socks you get from like TJ Maxx, the Puma ones. You get like a 15-pack or 16-pack for, I don't know, $12. That's it. It's all I got. It's all I wear. Poor Scott Harris. Man, the injury bug. I mean, poor Scott Harris, poor AJ Hinch, poor Chris Fetter. I mean, this team is blowing through starting pitchers. And then when you factor in the injury to your best positional player in Riley Green, the best bat in your lineup, like this is from a health standpoint, this season's been, damn near catastrophic for the Detroit Tigers. And they're still relatively competitive. All right, folks, my golf game might not be good, but I'm going to get it figured out. And the one thing you can figure out is how to call Matt Golden. Here's his number, 1-800-972-4837, 1-800-972-4837. He's running the beautiful Tullymore Golf Resort in Canadian Lakes, Michigan, about an hour north of Grand Rapids, 30 minutes west of Mount Pleasant, smack dab in the middle of the state, so it's easy to get to no matter what direction you are coming from. Book your stay and play at Tullymore today by visiting tullymoregolf.com, or call Matt right now at 800-972-4837. There was a story that was brought up to us last week, right at the end of the week, about Jameson Williams and Jared Goff. I got some inside information. We'll talk about it next year. X's and Bros, Michigan Sports Network.
Hey, this is Matt Shepard from the Michigan Sports Network. I love summers in Michigan because it means golf season. Now, two things always when I go golfing. I make sure I got my sticks, and I've got plenty of cold, fresh Labatt Blue Light. Whether I've just squeezed in 18 holes or I just want to relax on the patio after a long day, everywhere I go, and I'm serious when I tell you this, I tell people about the smooth, genuine taste of Labatt Blue Light. It's just a great beer. Michigan Sports Network is giving you a chance to win a foursome to Michigan's best courses. Just listen weekdays to The Huge Show and X's and Bros, or just text GOLF to 21,000 to enter. That's GOLF to 21,000. The trip includes 2 overnight stays and 2 rounds of golf, all brought to you by my friends at Labatt Blue Light. So grab a Labatt Blue Light the next time you head out onto the course and enjoy the blue skies, because blue is for Michigan summers and great times. Always enjoy responsibly. Copyright 2023 Labatt USA, Buffalo, New York. All rights reserved. Labatt is a registered U.S. trademark of Labatt Brewing Company, Ltd.
When you're in construction, you know that every minute matters and every dollar counts. You've got materials to purchase, employees to pay, and deadlines to meet. What you don't have is time to worry about your accounting, taxes, or ways to grow your business. That's where we come in. We're Bean Garter. And while your business is construction, our business is helping you run your business better. From tax planning, payroll processing, or R&D credit studies, we're here for you with concrete advice and answers. Let us help you build a solid foundation for your business. Whether you're a subcontractor, developer, architect, or engineer, of all the things you build, make your business the strongest. Experience service, expertise, and simplicity at Bean Garter. Find us online, beangarter.com. Bean Garter.
You're listening to Michigan's statewide morning show, X's and Bros, right here on the Michigan Sports Network.
Bros Michigan Sports Network. Great to have you all riding along with us, no matter who you are, where you are, how you may be listening, all across the great state of Michigan and in Northwest Ohio as well. And worldwide using the iHeartRadio app. It's simple. It's free to download. Just go to your app store, search iHeartRadio, download it, take us with you wherever you may be. And look, folks, there was a story last week where Jared Goff and Jameson Williams seemed to be on a different page throughout OTAs. OTAs, organized team activities, right? Guys running around with helmets and jerseys, getting used to the offense, doing some light installs, nothing major. I do not believe, and when I saw the story, to me it just sounded like some training camp jargon, right? That's what it sounded like. And when you have a player like Jameson Williams, who now has a dark cloud over him due to the gambling suspension, and by the way, in his first media availability, responded to, I don't know, to a couple of questions about the incident, painted him in a bad light. And when you have a 6-game suspension looming because of conduct that is pretty clearly written out, what you can and cannot do, and you are not, you're not behaving properly, right? You're not following the rules. Things are going to get a little dicey. And it's also going to put a monstrous microscope over top of you. And that's what happens when, you can't keep your nose clean, right? If you get into trouble, and let's say you are a middle school kid, if you get into trouble for doing God knows what, you are going to be more than likely watched a little bit closer. Right? A little bit closer. Because if you have some prior issues, it's usually a good determination that there's going to be a pattern of behavior here. Right? So as a little kid, if you get in trouble, you're a rebel rouser, one of those, you're going to get watched a little closer. They're probably going to discipline you a little bit harder. Then we're going to want to keep tabs on you, whether it's the school or your parents or whomever, because you just keep finding yourself in some trouble. That's where Jameson Williams is right now with the Detroit Lions. And it's not necessarily the Lions because, look, you got to serve the first 6 games. Yeah, we're bummed, but financially it works out pretty well for us. They'll withstand the first 6 weeks. I'm not worried about that at all. They're going to go into Kansas City and shock the world. You didn't have Jameson Williams for a majority of last season. You're not going to have him for 6 games this year. So whenever he is available, if he comes out and gets injured again, then I think you seriously, you're contemplating his future. You let him play out his rookie contract, and it is what it is. Right? But you think he's got the talent. You've seen some flashes and some glimpses, whether it was his 141-yard catch for the touchdown or if it was the end around where you're just trying to get the football in his hands to make a play. That's great. He has the ability to be great if we could see him out there on the field. The 6-game suspension is bad. I'm not trying to downplay that at all. It's bad because, as a professional athlete, I don't know doesn't cut it. These are the rules. This is what you have to play by. Ignorance is not an excuse, especially when they're telling everybody and sitting everybody down and explaining what the rules are. You shouldn't be involved in it anyways. It's really not that hard to say no. It's really not something you have to do. You don't have to gamble. There's a lot of advertising dollars being dumped into it. In fact, at the end of the segment, I'm going to tell you about a gambling site. If you're interested in it, go ahead. If you do it responsibly, absolutely. If you got kind of an addictive personality, it's probably not a good choice for you. Right? And if you are someone like Jameson Williams who finds himself injury, all right, we're going to monitor it. But we drafted you and you were injured, so that's okay. We want to see what you can do out there. We're pretty excited. And we're all very excited for 2023. You have an off-the-field issue now that's going to keep you out for 6 more games. And so in 2 seasons, you will not have even played 1 full season. But now everything else that happens is going to be under the microscope because of this incident. Now, there were some reports that were coming out from OTAs that Jared Goff and, there was a struggle there with, the organized team activities and practice in the offense and, the offense struggling a little bit. Jameson Williams and Jared Goff having a little spat. And I asked about this, and complete non-story. No different than what Jared Goff would do with any other player. Right? Literally walking with him. Well, they were moving their hands. You don't talk with your hands? If you don't, that's okay. But most people use hand gestures because it's just part of communication. Especially if you're out there on the football field and you're trying to tell somebody, I need you to get from here to here, you're supposed to be doing that. Like, you're going to use your hands to signal. So I'm not worried about a quarterback and a wide receiver giving each other hand gestures. Right? To be honest with you, it wouldn't matter to me if Jared Goff flipped in the bird because it's practice. And this is what happened. Like, these are the things that when something is incorrect, this is the time to correct it so you have it right when October comes around, in Jameson Williams' case. In everybody else's case, you have this right by August. Right? Let's get our preseason games in. Let's get our snaps in. And let's keep it moving. Let's get ready for week 1 against Kansas City. But this is a total non-story, but is made larger, is zoomed in on. Well, what was Jared Goff? Why was he upset at Jameson Williams? Probably because he ran the wrong route or didn't run it how Jared Goff wanted him to run it. Ben Johnson, come over and explain it. Here's what we're looking to do. This is what we're, it's timing. Wide receiver quarterback is all about timing. So there's no reason to be concerned whatsoever over the fact that a quarterback and a wide receiver are discussing things, even if the quarterback was yelling at the wide receiver. It's totally normal. It's normal. Like, it is, like, this is, he made a great, impressive catch at OTAs where he, high pointed the football, arms fully extended, toe tapped. It was all over the Lions, pages and Instagrams and everything else. Like, yeah. Like, of course it's going to be, because that's what they're going to do. One of the first plays that we saw out of OTAs was David Montgomery. And it was like, first guy there on the scene to make the quote-unquote tackle. Like, it's practice. We got to have something to report on. But this is nothing worth concerning yourself over. Nothing whatsoever. And I wouldn't worry about it one bit. I wouldn't worry about the dynamic of the team. The only thing you really have to worry about is whether or not Jameson Williams is going to come in and right the ship. Because that's what it comes down to. Whenever he becomes available after his suspension, he is going to have to right the ship and win back the trust, not only of the organization, but also of the fan base. Now, we as fans, we'll be out here willy-nilly. We'll trust everybody. If Jameson Williams comes out in his first game and has 100 yards receiving and a touchdown, people will forget the first 6 weeks even happened. But it was more of a gut punch, and this isn't Jameson Williams' fault. This is just the situation that he's in. It was more of a gut punch because where we find ourselves as an organization for the first time in 30 years. And that's where the rest of the league is looking at us like, hey, this team might actually be legitimate. Like, the juice inside the organization has never been higher. At least not since I've been working there. And my first season was 2011. Right there. I mean, people are so excited about this season that, and it's not like Jameson Williams, obviously he didn't want to break the rules on purpose. No one's trying to get suspended and cost yourself hundreds of thousands of dollars. Like that's nobody's plan. But he walked into a situation where our fan base is at a very fragile state. We're like the very expensive, like crystal vase, if you will. Like you're carrying this from your car. Don't trip over the step, because that's where we're at. And we are in a very fragile position where in week number 1, there's a couple of things that can happen. They can win the game and we're going to the Super Bowl, right? That's going to be reaction number 1. You win that game against Kansas City, you're going to the Super Bowl. Undefeated season. Every loss, you'll be firing everybody again, and it'd be right back to where we were at. Number 2, a close loss keeps you confident enough that, okay, that's a contending team. Like, they are Super Bowl contenders. Maybe we are playoff contenders. We hope that we are. But a close loss can give you a little bit of more, it could be reassuring to the fan base. You get your doors blown off week 1. I don't know if we can handle that. I don't think that we're mature enough to be able to handle that. You talk about like championship pedigree in sports. You talk about guys that have been there and done that. When the moment's not too big, the bright lights come on, they shine. Not the lights, the player. We are the player that's never been here before. That's where we're at. In at least 30 years. The last time that we probably have felt this confident. And I don't know. I wasn't old enough to even know what confidence was when Barry and Herman were running around in the early years. So if you could remember 1991, and obviously things have changed with media coverage, with accessibility, with availability. We're a lot more in tune with what's going on today than we were 30 years ago, for better or for worse. Ask John Morant how that's treating him. But you have this idea that we have not been in this position. We don't really necessarily understand or know how to handle or process success. And that's something as a fan base, we kind of got to get under grips a little bit. Like, we're going to have to kind of, bring it in a little bit, because the players, and I know that week 2 against Seattle at home, I know on September 17th, Ford Field will be, you won't be able to hear yourself think. It'll be loud. It'll be chaotic. It'll be an absolute ruckus in Ford Field on that day. And if you start the season 1-1 or 2-1 or 3-1, can we as a fan base handle any sort of success whatsoever? Because if it starts off good, which we all think that it will, that's where you're going to find yourself. That's where it is. If it starts off poorly, it'll be just like the messages we got today. Fire A.J. Hinch, Scott Harris is a bum. It's the same stuff. It's the same stuff. We as a fan base have to be able to process the position that this team is in for the first time in multiple decades. And that is where we are seen legitimately across the national spectrum as a legit contender. Like, we're not a doormat team anymore. People don't believe that. Now, whether that happens or not this season is yet to be determined. I hope that it doesn't. Boy, that would be disappointing, right? Maybe we'll finally be able to drop the same old Lions moniker, and we could just burn that, write on a piece of paper like we're in Phil Jackson's locker room, and throw it in the can, right? And just light it on fire and get it out of here. Then sage the can and be done with it. What'd you say, Dan?
Freddie is on hold.
Freddie's on hold. Hello, Freddie. Good morning to you.
Oh, this JMO news is enlightening. How are you, AB?
I'm great. Are you enlightened?
Yeah, I'm enlightened.
Do you feel enlightened from all the hullabaloo where people trying to make a mountain out of a molehill because it's the off season?
Well, I'm gonna tell you this. You can record it if you want. You're right. You're 100% right. But what you're missing, I call for two things. What you're missing is you don't hear something with St. Brown or somebody else, or it's always this guy. So just remember that when you continue to say that things are made mountain out of a molehill or whatever you're saying is, remember it's always this guy that's in the story.
Okay, all right. So hold on. Always, what stories do we have? Let's take a look at what we have that qualifies as always.
Well, what I'm saying to you is that it just every time you hear something negative with the Lions, he's part of the story.
Okay, so how many negative things do we have about the Lions right
now? None.
So if we don't have any negative things, then how come every time we hear something negative, it's about J-Mo if we don't have any negative things?
Yeah. No. Okay, AB. All right, whatever. Anyways, you could say what you want to say, but my initial point was I called is you don't have to go back to 1991. You go back to 2012. You started in 2011. The Lions, everybody remembers the game versus the San Diego Chargers when Calvin scored and they got their first playoff berth and this town erupted. I mean, did you forget that? You were at that game, right? Obviously, if you were working for the Lions, there you go. And then they went to the playoffs, and they kind of hung with them in the first quarter, and then Titus Young, which, God, who reminds you of Titus Young on this team? Oh, boy. But, and don't tell me 2012, people weren't excited in this town. You can't say that. That team was loaded with stars. I mean, Stafford was your star. Sue, you name it. They had it on that team. DeAndre Levy, you name it. 2012, they were excited in this town. So, and what did they do in 2012? What did they do?
They flamed out.
So, I'm not saying this team will, but you don't have to go back to 1991 because they did exactly what they did in the 90s, the other 5 playoff games. They lost the road playoff game. Is what they did. They lost the road playoff game. So
right, and so the reason I went back there is because I remember 2012, and I can see my living room. I could see my father. I could see the television. I can see Barry. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like you start thinking about when they tell you, like, if you can't remember somebody's voice, you tell the person, well, think of a scenario. Right, and then when they think of the scenario, they'll be able to hear that person's voice because they're painting an individual picture, not just like a broad spectrum of, my dad 30 years ago. Right, you know what I'm saying? So you pick a particular moment, and so that's why I went back to 91 because I remember. I just don't think. Do you think? I don't know if 2012 had the same amount of juice that this, like, where from a national perspective.
Absolutely, it did. Absolutely, it did.
Okay.
And I remember 91 because I watched the game. 21, and it was great that the Lions won, but it wasn't as a big deal because the Lions, in 91 you didn't think that 30 years we're still not getting a playoff win, so. But no, 2012 there was a lot of juice in 2012. Yes, Sue.
2012 there was juice. Hold on, Freddie, we got to hit the break. Don't go anywhere. Keep it locked right here. X's and Bros, Michigan Sports Network.
Bullying, lack of patience, cruelty to animals. Those are not good traits. They also happen to be critical warning signs of violence. June is Gun Violence Awareness Month, and the Michigan Association of Chiefs of Police wants you to know that at-risk people often display warning signs before they resort to gun violence. Search online for 10 critical warning signs of violence and ask your local police department how you can safely make a difference.
Imagine this, winning big at Soaring Eagle. Have a blast with Rolling Thunder Camper Giveaway. Saturdays in June, 2 players every hour win $1,500 premium play. On June 24th, the 11 p.m. winner rolls out in a new Coachman Catalina Legacy Edition. It's Rolling Thunder Camper Giveaway. Only at Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort. Your getaway reimagined. Visit SoaringEagleCasino.com for complete rules and details.
Hey, this is Matt Shepard from the Michigan Sports Network. I love summers in Michigan because it means golf season. Now, 2 things always when I go golfing. I make sure I got my sticks, and I've got plenty of cold, fresh Labatt Blue Light. Whether I've just squeezed in 18 holes or I just want to relax on the patio after a long day, everywhere I go, and I'm serious when I tell you this, I tell people about the smooth, genuine taste of Labatt Blue Light. It's just a great beer. Michigan Sports Network is giving you a chance to win a foursome to Michigan's best courses. Just listen weekdays to The Huge Show and X's and Bros, or just text GOLF to 21,000 to enter. That's GOLF to 21,000. The trip includes 2 overnight stays and 2 rounds of golf, all brought to you by my friends at Labatt Blue Light. So grab a Labatt Blue Light the next time you head out onto the course and enjoy the blue skies, because blue is for Michigan summers and great times. Always enjoy responsibly. Copyright 2023 Labatt USA, Buffalo, New York. All rights reserved. Labatt is a registered U.S. trademark of Labatt Brewing Company, Ltd.
From planting a simple seed to managing a global food supply, growing, processing, and distributing food is the backbone of America. You deal with food safety and labor issues, cost control, and not to mention Mother Nature. But do you have time to explore research development and biotechnical tax credits? Properly administer payroll for temporary employees. Ensure that you're operating at your most profitable? That's where we come in. We're Bean Garter. And while your business is America's food supply, our business is helping you run your business better. We'll assist with tax credits, assess your processes and controls, and so much more. And while we may not be able to help you plant your crops, we can help you realize a rich financial harvest. From the family farm to worldwide distribution of all the things you grow, grow your business better. Experience service, expertise, and simplicity at Bean Garter. Find us online, beangarter.com. Bean Garter.
It's time for Michigan Sports Talk Morning Show, broadcasting live all across the state of Michigan and Northwest Ohio. This is X's and Bros.
Swings it out to Sadiq Bey. Defended in the corner.
To Abdul-Rahman at midcourt. Extra pass. And it goes for the win. The three-pointer by Jordan Poole. Here's the give. Walker! Kenny Walker! Touchdown! Spotty!
Goff's got it. Back. Looks. Throws. Ends up. Yes! Caught! Touchdown Detroit Lions! They did it! Amon-Ra St. Brown in the receiving end!
Sends one to deep left center field. Back it goes, and that ball's out of here! A grand slam from Miguel Cabrera. He's got 2 goals. Larkin in on goal. Scores! His first career hat trick in his 7th season for Dylan Larkin.
Here's your host, Anthony Bellino.
Rise and shine, folks. Welcome back here, X's and Bros, on the Michigan Sports Network on this 5th day of June, 2023. So great to have you all riding along with us, no matter who you are, where you are, how you may be listening, all across the great state of Michigan and in Northwest Ohio and across the world on the iHeartRadio app. We say good morning to you. We welcome you. We thank you. We appreciate you. And, of course, we encourage you. Join the program at any time. You can text the keyword sports radio. Send that to 21,000. Sports radio to 21000. Our Myers Supercenter guest line 248-951-2176. 248-951-2176. We're on Twitter at XB Mornings, Facebook, X's and Bros. And, of course, good morning to our television audience as well on BCSN and streaming live on our YouTube page at Michigan Sports Network. Add a .com to that to find our website. Danny Cahalan is a Dan in the studio. Ryan Elke is a Ryan_L_Key. And I'm Anthony Bellino at AEC Bellino. What's going on in the sports world? We're trying to get you all caught up with all the happenings. We'll do so right now in the headlines.
Big news. I have a little news flash.
Let's check the headlines.
No, it's real news for once.
The biggest stories of the local, regional, and national news.
This is huge news.
Victor Hovland in a playoff hole is the winner of the Memorial, taking home $3.6 million, 550 FedEx Cup points, 7 under. Rounds of 71, 71, 69, and 74. Really good days of golf for a 4-day total of 281. Wow, it would be awesome to be able to play golf like that. Congratulations to him. Next up on the PGA Tour schedule, fellas. Anybody?
No idea.
Nobody knows?
No, I thought you were going to allude to it.
Oh, you thought it was like a little tease there.
Yeah.
We've got the RBC Canadian Open.
Oh,
in
yeah, that's
Toronto.
right. I was watching the ending of the tournament last night.
Followed up by the U.S. Open, and then at the end of the month, June 29th through July 2nd, the Rocket Mortgage Classic at Detroit Golf Club. Media Day is today. Dan and Ryan will represent us and hit bombs all over the course. We don't care about putting. We just want to hit it far.
One person has to putt.
Just one person. Not a big deal. Tigers get swept this weekend against the White Sox. They lose all 3 on the road on the south side. 3-0, 2-1 in 10. And then 6-2 yesterday, giving up a grand slam walk-off. What a way to end the game. Alex Lang gave that one up. They'll begin the first of 3 against the Philadelphia Phillies tonight at 6:40, tomorrow at 6:40, and Wednesday at 6:05 before an off day Thursday, and closing down the weekend at home against the Arizona Diamondbacks. So there's that for a Tigers team that we thought might be 500 or over 500. Talking about it, Monday morning, maybe this team will be over 500, and then they get swept. The Bills and Ed Oliver have agreed to a 4-year, $68 million contract extension. That's a pretty nice payday for him. Not going to lie. The Miami Heat win 111-108 in Game 2 of the NBA Finals. What a surge for the Heat there late in the fourth quarter. And my goodness, we got a tie series. We love to see that. Everything goes 7. Just to drag this thing out as much as possible. Nikola Jokic finished with an incredible line. 41 points on 16 of 28 from the field, 7 of 8 from the free throw line. Only 4 assists for him in last night's ballgame. Gabe Vincent, your leading scorer from the Miami Heat, 23 points on 8 of 12 from the field. Third period surge lift the Golden Knights past the Florida Panthers in game number 1. It was it was tight. Vegas led 2-1 until Anthony Duclair tied it with 10.2 seconds left in the second period, and then all of a sudden it was 5-2. In the blink of an eye, that was that. Florida's coach just telling everybody you need to take a deep breath. That's the paraphrasing there because he threw some F-bombs out there. Game 2 is tonight in Las Vegas, 8 o'clock puck drop on TNT. That is must-see TV, and I'm very much looking forward to that this evening. Gary Bettman, hopeful that the NHL will find a solution for the Coyotes in Arizona. The solution's very simple. Billionaire owners buy a piece of land, build a stadium. Plain and simple. I can't call on taxpayers to pay for my grocery store that I want to open up. Why do they get to, come on. It's your venue. Own the venue. Own the venue. Market the venue. Fill the venue with concerts and other stuff as well. It's Arizona. Come on. And the NHL reveals an unprecedented twin bill of outdoor games in New Jersey. So the 2024 NHL Stadium Series will be held at MetLife Stadium in February as a 2-day event featuring 4 rival teams. The Devils will host the Flyers on Saturday, February 17th in an outdoor night game. And then the Islanders will host the Rangers on February 18th. That's the next day. That's Sunday at a time yet to be determined. So they're basically just turning MetLife Stadium into the Jets and Giants. That's what they're trying to do. Okay, all right. Okay. I'm cool with that. The Big 12 is talking about expansion, according to sources, and apparently there is some sort of plan that is in place, whatever that might mean. I find this very interesting because a source told ESPN that UConn and Gonzaga were certainly talked about in the meetings. The Big 12 is already adding 4 new members: BYU, Houston, Cincinnati, and UCF. That they're all going to be here in time for college football. Cincinnati, UCF, BYU, Houston, I guess. I mean, the regional thing kind of goes out the window once the Big 12 or the Big 10 kicked in the door for California to bring in USC and UCLA. Everything else kind of we're not worried about the regions anymore. But I don't know exactly how Gonzaga and UConn fit into the Big 12 when they can't play football. That doesn't, or don't play football, I should say. I mean, UConn has a team, but come on. The highly touted Toledo guard and Mid-American Conference Player of the Year, Ray J. Dennis, is out of the transfer portal. He has committed to Baylor. So how about that? Dennis chose the Baylor Bears over Illinois, Michigan, and Utah. One of the top available transfer portal prospects there. And to close things down here at this segment, I do have a question. I want to go back to Freddie's phone call real quick at the end of hour number 2. Because if there is no negativity surrounding the organization, how are all the negative stories surrounding JMO? That's my question, right? Well, all the negative news is about JMO. Do we have any negative news outside of the suspension? Well, no. So then what else is there? Can't say everything that, all the bad stuff what bad stuff has happened? Nothing? Just that?
Well, 6-game suspension is pretty bad news.
It is, but there's all this horrible news that's surrounding the team. What's the bad stuff surrounding the team? I mean, that's it. We know that's the story. That's the issue. We know that. And so now every move Jameson Williams makes, you're going to get more people that kind of feel like Freddie, oh, that's the guy. He's the problem. He might turn out to be the problem. He might have some character issues to where the talent doesn't fit, the availability doesn't fit, and we look back on this 3 years from now and go, that was a blown pick. That could happen. But as of right now, it's a guy that was drafted while injured, played the last 6 games of the year, will be suspended for the first 6 games of this season, and through 2 seasons of play, won't have completed an entire season of NFL football. But you can't go out there and be like, well, all the bad stuff. Yeah, it's all. What? Is there any other bad news I'm unaware of? Well, no, that's it. So he might turn out to be the problem. Maybe. But that's yet to be determined. We can't blame him for injury. We were all excited about him going into this season, but this suspension now brings that dark cloud over top of him. We'll step aside. We'll be back with more Stanley Cup Finals Game 1 and Game 2 tonight. Next here, X's and Bros, Michigan Sports Network.
Imagine this, winning big at Soaring Eagle. Have a blast with Rolling Thunder Camper Giveaway. Saturdays in June, 2 players every hour win $1,500 premium play. On June 24th, the 11 p.m. winner rolls out in a new Coachman Catalina Legacy Edition. It's Rolling Thunder Camper Giveaway, only at Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort. Your getaway reimagined. Visit SoaringEagleCasino.com for complete rules and details.
We might have just come out with our most refreshing Michelob Ultra Organic Seltzer yet. It's called the Essential Collection. It's made with coconut water and real fruit juice, so it's always going to have a real refreshing fruit taste. Can refreshing get any more refreshing? Yep, it can, and it just did. Michelob Ultra Organic Seltzer, made with coconut water and real fruit juice for a superior taste. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch Michelob Ultra Organic Seltzer, IRC Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Huge here for the Michigan High School Athletic Association. You can stay up to date on the latest from Lansing 24/7 at MHSAA.com, at MHSAA on Twitter, and MHSAA on Facebook. The latest news, press releases, and stories connected to every high school in the state of Michigan, available for you 24/7 from the Michigan High School Athletic Association. Log on to MHSAA.com, at MHSAA on Twitter, and MHSAA on Facebook. And if you're looking for archive boys and girls high school sports, MHSAA.TV. That's MHSAA.TV. 24/7, everything you need to know about high school sports in Michigan. Log on to MHSAA.com.
thoughts all morning long on the Meyer Guest Line. Call 248-951-2176. That's 248-951-2176. Now, back to Danny, Ryan, and AB.
Welcome back here to X's and Bros, Michigan Sports Network. JYD in Kalamazoo says, nice Sabbath bumper music. All right, Dan's getting some love here. Metal Monday, new thing. I like it. Metal Monday, I believe, began. You remember J Moore Sports? Do you remember that show at all?
J Moore
Sports used to be on Fox Sports Radio. And
I know Jay Moore. Yeah.
He had a sports talk show.
Yeah.
I loved it. I thought it was highly entertaining. But yeah, they had Metal Monday, and that's why it came to my mind, because I was thinking Jay Moore Sports. Golf season's here. Matt Golden and his team are ready to welcome you to one of the best golfing experiences in the great state of Michigan. Tullymore Golf Resort in Canadian Lakes offers not one but two championship courses, Tullymore and St. Ives. It's located about an hour north of Grand Rapids, 30 minutes west of Mount Pleasant. It's up north golf without the drive, and it's got the lodging to be able to cater to you, your partner, your foursome, or up to 400 of your closest friends and family. Visit TullymoreGolf.com, or call my friend Matt right now at 1-800-972-4837, 1-800-972-4837. Book your stay and play at Tullymore today. Did you guys see this story, too, that's taking place? Because the French Open is happening. I don't know if you guys knew that, the tennis tournament. And they had a Russian versus Ukrainian match in the fourth round on the women's side. Did you see that?
Absolutely not.
Oh, Daria Katsykina from Russia took on Elena Svitolina. And Elena wins. The Ukrainian wins, beats the Russian. The Ukrainian already said she's not shaking anybody from Russia or Belarus's hand. I'm not doing it. Like, it's fine. We'll head nod beforehand, but I'm not shaking anybody's hand. The hell with those people. And the Ukrainian wins, and they booed the Russian off the court. And, she took to Twitter, and she said, leaving Paris with a very bitter feeling all this days. After every match I played in Paris, I have always appreciated and thanked the crowd for the support and being there for the players. But yesterday I was booed just for being respectful on my opponent's position, not to shake hands. We showed respect to each other after a tough match, but leaving the court, that was the worst part of yesterday. Be better, love each other, don't spread hate, try to make this world better. I love RG no matter what. I'll be there for and always and forever. I'll see you next year. That's what she wrote. A tough position to be in. Tough position. And the Ukrainian said, I'm really thankful for her, position that she took, because Katsykina's been one of the very few Russian players to kind of speak out against the war, calling it a nightmare. And she's been supported by this Russian popular singer that goes by Zemfira, who has now been placed on the Russian Justice Ministry list of foreign agents back in February because she fled the country because she's against the war and is in the public light. And so she had to run. And so a lot of stuff going on out there in the world. Lot of stuff. And we're pretty isolated over here. And thank God. So a couple of things. I do want to hop into the Stanley Cup Finals, but people weren't excited about 2012 after their first playoff in years. I'm not saying that they weren't excited. I'm talking about going into the season, right? Going into the season, maybe it was 2012, but I was not old enough to be able to understand and process what was happening in the early 90s. That was the point of me bringing that up. Was that I'm alive, I can see it, but I don't know, I can't grasp what's taking place, right? I can't, comprehend the magnitude of what it might mean. I mean, today on Get Up, on the worldwide leader, it's all about the Kansas City Chiefs. You got Stanley Cup Final game number 2, that is tonight at 8 o'clock. You have the NBA Finals game number 2, that was last night. And you're going to start off with the Chiefs and how many Super Bowls Patrick Mahomes is going to win. Like, come on. Every day of the week? You totally missed that call. I said when you hear something negative about the Lions, his name is always attached to it, just like Titus Young. Listen. No, I was listening. And I asked you the question, caller, that what is something negative you have heard about the team? Like how many negative stories are there? And the answer was none. Well, there's one negative story that we have, and that's related to the Jameson Williams suspension. Other guys were suspended and cut. Nobody cares. It's about J-Mo. It's totally understandable. He's the first-round pick. A lot of expectation, a lot of excitement around him. It's totally understandable. But when I asked what were the other negative news stories, and the answer was none, then you can't say when you hear something always, every time you hear something negative about the Lions. Well, there's only one thing that we have. We have one off-the-field issue. Right now, in Dan Campbell's entire tenure, going into season 3, we've got one problem. That's it. And it's a 6-game suspension. So I am listening, but when I asked the question, it immediately was, blah, 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 blah. Right? That's usually what happens when you challenge somebody about something, because all I'm doing is asking questions. If you can explain it to me, then great. I am a more than willing listener. I am more than willing to learn and to hear somebody else's opinion, thought process, viewpoint, explanation. I'm good with all of that. But you got to at least, if I ask you a question, you got to at least be able to answer it. Like, come on. Come on. So if that's me totally missing the call, every time there's a negative story, it's about J-Mo. Well, what negative stories do we have? We have one. That is about J-Mo's suspension. Is there anything else? No. Well, every time you hear, there's only one. So I can't really, we're going to have some more. My point in the segment about Jameson Williams and the Jared Goff thing is it's a complete non-starter. Like, it's not a story. And yesterday, when I was asking some questions about what was taking place out there, it was told to me that's no different than how Jared Goff would talk to anybody else in the wide receiver room. Well, you never hear him talk to Amon-Ra St. Brown like that. Maybe Amon-Ra St. Brown, because he's going into year 3 and has played some quality NFL football for a couple of years, maybe he knows what's going on. So you don't have to say anything to him because he knows what to do. But if he screws up, best believe that they're going to be out there talking about it. That's why. Amon-Ra St. Brown went from, wow, who's this rookie, to, yeah, he's dependable, to, yeah, hell, end of this year, he's going to be a seasoned vet. Like, that's what it is. So that's why you're not going to hear anything about Amon-Ra St. Brown. If the NBA Finals go 7 games, Game 7 might happen the same night as Lions at Chiefs. Good luck with those ratings. Adam Silver will drive to Grand Rapids. No, that's not true, Will. Word to the wise, don't close a segment with Freddie, then open the next segment with Freddie. It's like going to bed at night with a stomachache and then waking up with explosive bathroom activities. Good day. That comes from Will. Come on, Will. I had to clarify what was taking place. Okay, B, spin it your way. Call back. Go ahead, just explain it to me. All I'm doing is asking you a question. That's it. I'm not trying to challenge you on anything. I'm not arguing with you. But every time there's a negative story, what are the times we have negative stories that are outside of what we've already addressed? That's all I'm asking. Step into the world of nonstop DraftKings Casino. Plenty of action all day long. You play the classics like blackjack, roulette, slots, my favorite. Get on the craps table, catch a hot hand in a dice game. Plus, enjoy exclusive games you can't find anywhere else. Right now, new customers who deposit at least $5 can match their first deposit, score up to $2,000 in casino bonus funds. All you have to do is sign up, select the offer of your choice, and start playing for the full suite of games. Download the DraftKings Casino app right now. Use the promo code HUGE. You get a match on your first deposit of $5 to up to $2,000 in casino bonus funds only at DraftKings Casino with the promo code HUGE. Now, if you or somebody you know has a gambling problem, wants help, needs help, call the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services Gambling Disorder Helpline, 800-270-7117. 21 plus, Michigan only, one bet per opted-in customer. Minimum $5 deposit, max match $2,000. Deposit and bonus amount require 15 times playthrough within 30 days. See terms at casino.draftkings.com/players choice. Restrictions do apply. We'll step aside. Back with more X's and Bros after this here on the Michigan Sports Network.
Hey, this is Matt Shepard from the Michigan Sports Network. I love summers in Michigan because it means golf season. Now, 2 things always when I go golfing. I make sure I got my sticks, and I've got plenty of cold, fresh Labatt Blue Light. Whether I've just squeezed in 18 holes or I just want to relax on the patio after a long day, everywhere I go, and I'm serious when I tell you this, I tell people about the smooth, genuine taste of Labatt Blue Light. It's just a great beer. Michigan Sports Network is giving you a chance to win a foursome to Michigan's best courses. Just listen weekdays to The Huge Show and X's and Bros, or just text GOLF to 21,000 to enter. That's GOLF to 21,000. The trip includes 2 overnight stays and 2 rounds of golf, all brought to you by my friends at Labatt Blue Light. So grab a Labatt Blue Light the next time you head out onto the course and enjoy the blue skies, because blue is for Michigan summers and great times. Always enjoy responsibly. Copyright 2023 Labatt USA, Buffalo, New York. All rights reserved. Labatt is a registered U.S. trademark of Labatt Brewing Company, Ltd.
Have you ever played golf at Tullymore, St. Ives? Have you experienced a stay-and-play package in Canadian Lakes, Michigan, less than an hour north of Grand Rapids? Well, here's what you need to do if you want to take advantage of great deals right now. Go to TullymoreGolf.com. That's TullymoreGolf.com, and you'll see the link for packages, accommodations, dining, meetings, weddings, events, and so much more, and especially golf on the 18-hole layout at Tullymore and the 18 holes at St. Ives. And they can accommodate any group, whether it's 2 people getting together or 200 looking for a weekend or an overnight celebration. That includes a little business, golf, great food, and beverages. Just go to TullymoreGolf.com. That's TullymoreGolf.com. They're located in Canadian Lakes, Michigan, less than an hour north of GR. Get more info at TullymoreGolf.com.
From Traverse City to the Glass City, GR to the Motor City, you're listening to X's and Bros on the Michigan Sports Network.
Welcome back here to X's and Bros, Michigan Sports Network. A little Metal Monday here for you on the 5th day of June, 2023. Hate the Chiefs hype. They're like Duke basketball, the Yankees, or the new Patriots for the NFL. Hate them or love them, it seems. That comes from Ty on YouTube. Yeah, I'm not anti-Chiefs. That's cool. They're good for Kansas City. Marcus Allen, good for them. They've done well with Patrick Mahomes. He's a likable character. His brother is not. His wife is even worse, but he's a likable character. Travis Kelce, I think, is wearing on people a little bit. But all in all, it's a pretty likable team until they get smacked in week 1 by the Detroit Lions. So there was no spin on the previous segment. I'm not trying to spin anything. I'm just asking questions. And if I ask a question, I need the question to be answered. That's all. If you're getting down to specifics, I just need a specific answer. I'm not trying to talk anybody into circles. I just want to know. I just would like to know. All right, we have a game 2 of the NHL Stanley Cup final tonight. Vegas Golden Knights taking on the Florida Panthers. All was well in game number 1 on Saturday night until, the third period happened. That was a debacle. It was 2-2 entering the third, and the Golden Knights just absolutely blew the doors off the Panthers in that third period. And, that could have something to do with, Tkachuk getting ejected after the double minor. But it just, it felt like, an empty netter kind of increases the look of things. So maybe it's not as bad as one may think. But, you're on the road. It's one game. You got to find a way to move past that. You just do. There's nothing. You got to look at this game right here as it's game 2. It's a fresh slate. You got to handle it. And it was the third period. The game's already 4-2 when Tkachuk gets the boot. It really, did it play that big of a role in the outcome of the game? No, not necessarily. I mean, the game's already decided there. Nothing going on. And, for me, it's like, look, hockey is so difficult with the physicality of the game. It's so challenging. But if Florida can come out and set the tone early, they'll give themselves a chance. Set the tone physically. Don't let Vegas go anywhere without some contact. And back in the Stanley Cup final for Vegas, I just don't want to see it. I want to see 7, and I want to see Florida just because the expansion draft, you know how I feel about that. I've already covered that. But you have game 2 tonight, and, they turned up the physicalness, but a handful of penalties from, with 4:24 remaining left. And you have the Florida bench is short. The outcome is already determined. And, look, you have an opportunity. If you can come out here and if you can jump on them physically but do so that is discipline, you're going to give yourself a chance. If you find yourself in the sin bin the whole night, you're going to get torched. Vegas is going to kill them. Right? So for me, that would be my strategy here for game number 2. We want to get physical. We want to jump on them early, set the tone to the game early. Right? Stay out of the box, for the love of God. Jeez Louise. Please. But I'm looking forward to an exciting game 2 tonight. I most definitely am. And, it's good variance here now between the Stanley Cup Finals and the NBA Finals is that, we're getting not necessarily every other night, but a good stagger here where we'll get tonight's game 2 and then you'll see game 3 will be actually on Thursday. So we'll have a little, we'll have a couple, we'll have tomorrow and Wednesday to kind of stew over it, where Wednesday night, we get tonight and tomorrow off from the NBA Finals. Wednesday night, we'll be getting game number 3 as the series will shift back to Miami for the Nuggets and Heat tied at 1. Since you're a team guy, maybe you should buy one of those stupid free JMO shirts. He knew the rules. He continues to get praised. But if he played on another team, he would be blasted and mocked by this town and certain fans. I'm not going to wear a free JMO shirt because, one, he's not imprisoned. Nobody needs to be freed. They're not imprisoned. He's not being held captive against his will. He made a dumb mistake because either A, he can't read, or B, doesn't care. So you hit him in the checkbook. That's where it matters. Hit him right in the pockets and say, hey, this is what you've done. Plus, this violation will lighten the load a little bit when it comes to a potential re-signing, even if you're playing really well. I'm not going to wear one of his teammates can wear them if they want to. I think it's ridiculous. You can't, guy broke the rules. There's no freeing him from captivity. I'm not going to free him from NFL jail here because he broke the rules. And he knew the rules. Everybody knows the rules. Imagine if they had Titus shirts when he's mocking Tony Scheffler in 2012 in the huddle. Dude, nobody cares about Titus Young. Gone, done, over. Yeah, JMO didn't shrug his shoulders in games last year, probably right next to you on the sideline. It's okay if he shrugged. You're allowed to show emotion. You're allowed to show emotion. You're allowed to be upset. You're allowed to be angry. It's professional football. That's what it is. I would expect, that's like when people, when Aaron Glenn, or pardon me, was it Aaron Glenn or Aubrey Pleasant who was going after Jeff Okudah? Who was it?
I think it was Pleasant. I think you're right.
Was it Aubrey Pleasant? It'd be like, oh, God, he's ripping into Jeff Okudah. It's okay. It's professional football. It's okay. And guess what? Neither one of them are with the team anymore. If you think that Dan Campbell greets everybody with gift baskets at halftime, no, he's chewing people out. That's the world of professional football. It's professional sports, especially contact ones, are the most aggressively coached and aggressively played activities in the world. They are. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And so let's say that, for instance, JMO shrugging his shoulders, maybe he was in the huddle and gave me the ball. Maybe gave one of those. Okay. I want you to want the ball. In the context of the offense. And once again, if you're not there to hear the conversation and you don't really know what's going on, all we have are the outside, right? All we can do is see it from the outside, which looks bad. It can look bad. It can. And it's something now that is the dark cloud over the player. Right? Because if he's making all these great highlight social media catches at OTAs, if he's doing all this and he's on the same page and there's no suspension, then it's all roses. But that's not what we're dealing with, are we? We're dealing with a guy that's suspended, who now every single thing that he has done will be under the microscope. Just like you as a child, when you got in trouble, your parents are going to watch you a little bit closer. Right? If your parents tell you not to play with matches, right? They keep the matches in the kitchen. Maybe, just maybe now, every time you walk into the kitchen, they're going to look over their shoulder and see, what's he doing in there? Told you not to play with that. Right? That's the principle. That's the concept here. Because you've showed us an inability to behave properly. Now we have to constantly watch you. Right? If there is a particular car that tends to speed on the road, it doesn't matter who the driver is. But let's say there's a Corvette out there. And, the Michigan State Police have written 500 tickets to Corvettes this year. It's a random number. I'm just making the story up. Well, when the police see a Corvette, they're going to pay a little extra attention because that car's got a little bit more go than a Prius. It's got a little more juice than a Prius. So when there's a Corvette, officer might hear the engine. Right? Maybe it's engines that make a bunch of noise. They're like, hey, why do those engines make a lot of noise? Because they got a lot of power, and a lot of power means they go fast. Is this person trying to go fast? Or do you want to go fast? Whoop, whoop. Right? That's plain and simple. Plain and simple. You want to own a car that says 200 miles an hour on the dash? You want to own a car that makes a lot of noise when you start up because it goes real fast? You're going to draw that unnecessary attention to yourself. You might like that attention. But at the end of the day, that attention could cost you because you might be a little bit undisciplined. Now, isn't Jameson Williams the same guy overpaying for bottles of water from the kids selling bottles of water in Detroit and his praise? Oh, look at J-Mo giving back to the community. But he's got the suspension. And he's going to be walking around like Pigpen from the Charlie Brown story, right? It was Pigpen, the guy that had the dust cloud around him. Was that him, the smelly kid?
Yes, and Linus had his blanket.
Okay, so Linus has his blanket. Pigpen's walking around smelly. We're looking at Pigpen right now because you got some smelliness on you, right? You got a little bit of a stench. That stench is carrying 6 games. And you can't hit me with that, whatever or next topic. You can't, because if I got to ask you a question, you can't explain it, then it's a moot point. I like to ask questions. It's good. You should ask questions. All right, Ryan just sent me something, too, that just came across that I thought was pretty interesting from Clutch Points. In 2021, Duncan Robinson, the Michigan alum, signed the biggest NBA contract ever for an undrafted player, 5 years, $90 million. Then in 2022, he permanently lost a starting job in Miami. That setback cost him millions. If you look at the fine print of Robinson's contract, you'll see a litany of incentives that he has to meet to get to the full $90 million. Some of the incentives must appear in 75% of playoff games, must play 25 minutes per playoff game. The final $10 million is only guaranteed if the Heat win a championship. That's pretty interesting. Because as Clutch Points highlights here, he is a shooter. He was signed because he was knocking down shots when he burst onto the scene. They were kicking in the ball, and he was lighting it up. So when you are a shooter who's not doing a whole lot of other things really well, and you know that the other team is going to try to exploit you on defense, there might not be a really good matchup to hide you. You hear that term a lot in NBA chatter. And that is because, guys like Steph Curry. Steph Curry might not be the most prolific defender, but they can find a matchup against a guy where they can, quote unquote, hide him on defense. Right? You can help a little bit more towards him, but he can defend a guy that's really, maybe not that active on the offensive side. Right? That's why you love the guy that stands there. If you're playing defense, you love a guy that wants to stand in the corner and watch. You hate a guy like Rip Hamilton. You hate a guy like Reggie Miller. You hate a guy like Ray Allen. Guys that just don't stop running around. You hate that stuff. So as he gets benched, he tries to kind of reinvent himself a little bit with, some of the on-ball playmaking that he's done, some of his ability to cut to the basket, some of those backdoor looks a little bit that they have been able to hit him on. And it's worked out pretty well. He scored 10 points in the fourth quarter, gave Miami Heat the surge that it needed to tie the series. And at the end of the day, this is a situation that I admire. Kevin Love is a situation that I admire. Kyle Lowry is a situation that I admire. Gabe Vincent, Max Strus, Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo. You don't hear a lot of negative chatter about what I'm not getting. Right? All you hear about is what we are doing. And yes, is it a shot to your pride? Absolutely, if you get benched. Do you know what it's going to cost you? Absolutely, you know what it's going to cost you. Do you still care? Do you still care? Is the sum of the parts greater? Can it be greater than? Right? If you put is your end goal greater than the sum of your parts, or whatever that saying is? You know what I'm trying to get to here. I think I butchered that one, though. You have this idea that we as a collective unit, our team goal is greater than our own personal achievement or accolade. And when you start to, I think Denver is very much the same way. Aaron Gordon. I mean, here's a guy that got drafted high, dunk contest, human highlight reel, and got sent to Denver. Bruce Brown, a guy that when Mike Malone was, trying to recruit him in free agency. He's like, how come nobody signed me? He said, nobody knows how to play me. Nikola Jokic, game number 1. Guy barely attempted a shot in the first half. Here, you take it. You're open, you take it. Jamal Murray, highly underrated. Now you're getting to see him on the main stage. His legend will grow a little bit. Michael Porter Jr., multiple injuries.
The man has the prettiest jump shot in the world that will never go in.
The prettiest sub 35% shooter we've ever seen.
Like, you show that in videos to,
the instructional
videos, because it is perfect every single time, and then just back iron.
Hey, miss it long, miss it short, but miss it in the middle. Right? Don't miss side of the rim, left or right. That's never good. But you miss it long off the heel, I'm okay with that. Good miss, as we like to say.
Michael Porter Jr. has a lot of good misses.
A lot of good misses there. And I think that's what makes this, people are like, oh, the NBA doesn't want this. This is the perfect finals. This isn't a finals full of me guys like Ja Morant, James Harden, Joel Embiid crying about a regular season award, LeBron James and his semblance of super teams, the super max, super soft Anthony Davis, right? There's none of that. There's just two teams that were assembled the right way. Acquire good pieces, draft really well, develop, take time with your coach. Remember when LeBron wanted to get Eric Spoelstra fired? When he ran into him, walking off the court, and Spo looked back? Do you remember that? I remember that. You know what Coach Pat Riley said? Not happening. You don't run this team. The Godfather does. I do. Had to check him, put him in his place. This is our coach, so deal with it. Right? I mean, Pat Riley's been a part of 25% of NBA Finals. Is that not insane? As a player, coach, and front office general manager. 25% of the NBA Finals have featured Pat Riley's teams. He's aged a lot, but that's kind of what happens there. But that's why this is a great finals matchup. Now this has so much more intrigue than the same old crap with a bunch of drama queens. No, guys are out there playing hard. You don't hear them talk negatively about anything. They just go out there and they play. They play ball. They want to win, and that's why this has been a great series so far through 2 games, and you should be all in on it too. Hey, folks, step into a world of nonstop action just like the NBA Finals, but it's DraftKings Casino. You can play the classics like blackjack, roulette, and slots, plus enjoy exclusive games you can't find anywhere else. Right now, new customers who deposit at least $5 can get a match of their first deposit and score up to $2,000 in their hand in casino bonus funds. All you have to do is sign up, select the offer of your choice, and start playing from a full suite of games. Download the DraftKings Casino app right now. Use the promo code HUGE and get a match of your first deposit of $5 up to $2,000 in casino bonus funds, only at DraftKings, only using the promo code HUGE. Now, if you or somebody who knows a gambling problem wants help, call the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services Gambling Disorder Helpline, 800-270-7117, 21 plus, one per opted-in customer, minimum $5 deposit, max match $2,000. Deposit and bonus amount require 15 times playthrough within 30 days. See terms at casino.draftkings.com/players choice. Restrictions do apply. For Dan and Ryan, I'm Anthony. See you tomorrow, same time, same place, here on the Michigan Sports Network. You guys okay over there?